And so I think it's a good question to ask you. Like Bandicoot and like you guys, like the people who ran leagues are. Hold off. I'm about to start yapping. I want to yap so hard. I'm gonna try to keep it to a minimum because sometimes I go on really long rants, but I'll just keep it going.
Okay. Make the announcement.
Jen thinks
Where I live? I live in Texas.
Oh, we're live? No, he said we're live.
Do your job. Do your job. Yo,
okay.
Yo, can somebody tell the dude to back up and do it? Yo,
Clubhouse. Stop.
start.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Hey, we're live. That's cool.
I have OFC Podcast. New studio, of course. We had this since last time too. Oh, got special guest Wheat right here and Sylvia. You know,
I'm back.
the
After
Sigs.
first
Hopefully,
episode, I'm back.
Gomaster can join.
I did. I just want to say something real quick while I'm posting the link. I made a comment on a racist comment, just to be specific, on a YouTube video for the first time recently. I have 3K likes and it's so cool. Like,
do you do that on like social media? I never comment on like Instagram or YouTube things.
I only thought I thought of like a really good joke, and there was like a timestamp in the video. I was like, I can't let this live down because the video came out like 20 minutes before I commented it, and I was like, dude, somebody has to find this hilarious. So I said it. 3,000 people found it hilarious, which is so cool.
That's really cool. That's funny. I've just never been a person to like say my opinions on stuff online like that.
No, it wasn't an opinion. I just said some black dude like.
No, I just say anything.
Beating a black dude. Look at this guy right here.
It's terrifying.
Sad somebody.
We already have 9 people watching. We haven't even announced it yet.
That's nice. Okay, cool.
Oh.
Let's just try to get our peak. I think our peak was last episode. We had like 30 people watching, so let's try to keep that up. Okay, guys, what are we starting with? What's the starter topic? First of all, that outfit is disgusting.
Who? Me? Oh,
Like
that.
me, but
No,
it's like
your outfit's beautiful. Don't worry about it.
What should we start with?
Who's in the corner?
Shut up. Because we is Jin, go on, push
even
stop.
talking. Why am I getting targeted?
You're going like
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. I muted him so I don't.
Little buddy right here.
And you all have a question for Mr. Wheat, bro?
I thought you said you had like a bunch of questions.
Oh yeah. So why?
Bro, we were
racist.
ready before this started. Like everything was like we were trying to hold back conversations. Ask your question. I thought you had something. That's what I was told.
We forgot what it was.
Sylvia was about to ask something.
Oh yeah. So like, what happened? You're gonna fight Fab and you just disappeared. Like what happened? And then now you're back. Like it's so random.
This is a really good question.
happened?
This is a fun story. So one, I wasn't like trying to duck Fab. I'm not. I've never been like scared to fight someone. I'll fight anyone pretty much on short notice too. If I lose, I lose. You know. But so I was on that day, the day of the event, and I was sparring Carlos like 10 times. I sparred Carlos that day. That night though, I had a friend he's Swedish. He does military service for a year. It was his day back. He was getting back that night. And so I had messaged Cal like, hey man, I really want to hang out with him, but the issue was we were most likely going to go drinking or do something like that. I was like, do you think it's a good idea for me to do this or not? And he's like, oh, you know what? I think it'll be fine. And so I had told my friends, like, look, I can hang out, but I can't go super crazy tonight. I got a boxing event I have to do. And no, I went a little bit too hard into the paint. And so normally if that happened, we'd be like, okay, well, just reschedule it and do it the next day. It's inconvenient, you know, but I could still get the fight done. But I had to be escorted by the police to Budapest because my residency card had expired. And they were trying to deport me out of the country. And so I spent about a week and a half in Budapest in like the embassy, and I had to go to like court and talk to them about like I'm not here illegally because I had just quit my job, and that was the main reason I was allowed in like the country. So yeah, I was going through a lot. I was legitimately fighting for my life not to be deported, and then they ended up shortening the time I could stay there, so I had to leave much sooner. And so that's why I'm back in the States. I had to move, I had to find a job, find an apartment. Like, I've just been busy.
Oh yeah, you're back in USA now.
Now I've kind of like settled down and everything's back to normal, so I can come back to the community.
Let's go. How long you gonna stay for?
Very skip.
100 years? Let's go.
I'll always be around. As
Yeah,
long
you
as
were being
Raccoon Boxing is
deported.
around.
Yeah, you were stuck around here like on the verge of
Probably
being
just like
deported.
Jim.
I was trying my best to defend that you weren't ducking Fab, and like it was so hard to work around it without leaking out your business. And then I slipped up to Zane and I said like you're having visa issues or something, and Zane told the whole world. So
I wasn't allowed.
I didn't
I had a Greece trip planned for after that OFC event. I couldn't go to it because if I left the country, they would not let me back in, and so it was pretty shit.
Oh dang.
wait, so are you able to go back now? Like if you were,
Yeah,
if you
I
like,
could now,
okay, I didn't know about that.
but I would have to like leave Europe first, and if I was leaving Europe, it just But
That was pretty interesting IRL story. Let's get some Rec Room boxing talk going. What do you think would have happened now looking back? If you fought Fab, let's just say
I
you
would've
didn't go
beaten
out
him.
with your friend.
I legitimately think I would have beaten him. So that day, I had fought Carlos to kind of gauge where my skill is, because short fighters, I'm terrible against them. And so I figured if I could do good against Carlos, then I would be really good that day. And I was crushing Carlos. I beat him like 4 times in a row, and he just continued. He just kept wanting to fight.
Oh
He
yeah, Carlos is
figured
like
me out.
really freaking
He's
good.
really good.
Also,
and he
Carlos was just coming
figured-
off that big win against Fab too, so that was a really good.
Yeah,
person to
and
go
so
against.
he kind of wanted to gauge where I was at. He said to me, he's like, "Look, I thought you were gonna get like mopped by Fab." He's like, "You're raping me." He's like, "Your jab and everything." He was going off about how he thought I'd easily beat Fab. Yeah, I beat that spar that day. I beat him 6 times to 4 times because he went on like a 4-win streak against me. He figured me out, but then I was like, I can't lose. So I beat him another 2 times.
I love.
I think I
Carlos,
would have
but
beaten
he just
Fab
doesn't
though.
like me.
Fab wasn't someone who ever scared me, especially in the tag team, me and him versus Al and Fab. Every time, I think Fab only stayed in there a little bit, but I think I did fine against him. And watching his
You didn't
movement
get
against
hit
Cal,
when
it
you fought him?
wasn't something scary.
Yeah, I was a bad example for that. I was holding up decently. I had a lot going on. You knew about it, but
Yeah.
when you guys got in the ring, I think you hit him like 4 times or something. He didn't hit you once, I know. And then he tagged
you
out to
swapped
Al. Yeah.
Al was a tough fight because you had talked about this about hitbox karma. So apparently during the start of that tag team, I was doing really good against Al, and he really wasn't hitting me. But the second half of that fight, there were so many times where I thought it would have connected and it didn't, but he was hitting me. So it was just the universe balancing itself out.
Yeah.
We were talking about top like 5 and top 10 contenders earlier, Angel. Specifically, like not giving new gens credit. I kind of wanted to. We can bring that up again.
You know what? Let's go wise because you had an interesting take about H2O. I remember asking some old gens this, and I think some of the new gens like Ghosty said that if he oh my god, what the fuck? If he wasn't tall, he would suck at the game or like just be mid. Oh my god, stop. Okay, my bad. And then you actually brought up a really good point about how he would still be really fucking good. You know, or he just has a really good skill set.
I think that's a crazy take to have because in rec room boxing, we typically say that if you're short, you have an advantage because it's more easy to lower your hitbox and make it harder for you to be hit. Because the closer you are, so any part of your body that's steeps below the floor won't be hit at all because the like hitting the object collision, right? So if you're short, you can shorten your body, use your swords, you can guard your whole hitbox way better. He's tall. He's one of the tallest people in our community. So to say that him being tall is an advantage, so yes, he had pretty long range, but someone like Kirito, who is I think slightly below average height, has in his prime had absurd range, went toe-to-toe with H2O. So no, I don't think just being tall is an advantage. Also, no one in this community I've met has had the mindset, like that killer mindset that H2O had. No one has ever been as passionately like wanting to win than him, in my opinion. Whenever he like really tried.
Yeah. I remember when Ghosty brought that up to me. I think before he brought it up to anyone else, because I was I think I was working on something for like the DM fight. He joined me. I think Logic might have came with him. I don't know for sure. But Ghosty joins me, and he's going on about how he just sparred H2O, and he was doing really good. But if he was the same size as Ghosty, so tiny, which is like, guys, you can wish for that. But he was basically saying he would destroy him, and I guess he mocked Ghosty and Logic a good handful of times where they were both very, very upset. Like Logic was visibly mad, Ghosty was visibly mad, and I didn't really argue with Ghosty just because you've argued with Ghosty, you know how that goes. But one, you can't really like take it from him because it's just his genetics for one. So even if that were like to be true, you kind of gotta shut up about it. It's like saying like you make the same case for like shorter fighters, like that's just how they're built. So
no, I do make that case for sure. I do. The thing is, I discredit short fighters, and I don't care if you're tall. So if you're tall, I don't discredit you for being tall and it being harder for you at all, because I'm just like, that's what you had to deal with that. But if you're short, like Pizza Man, we were talking about this earlier. I discredit so many of his accomplishments just because he's a 4'2" little shithead. Who his whole like the hype behind Pizza Man really started because of boxing facility, which in of itself is questionable in terms of hitboxes. Like I saw Soviet fighter or Soviet person or whatever. I watched him.
Yeah,
I watched
that guy
him beat up
Goldmaster.
Goldmaster. I watched him beat up Goldmaster the other day, and it's just that's how facility is. It's laggier. It's the gloves are different, and so it's 5 hits. And so it's
bro.
What are you doing?
Get on your body.
So yeah, Pizza Man. And Pizza Man also had his signature tornado like spin where he would do this with his hands and just swing and like backhand you. Like that's not skill. You're just swinging. And you saw the notorious. What is that? Go on to push a talk so I can hear like.
He's talking to Sylvia. He's talking to Sylvia.
Oh, so whenever Pizza Man went to actual leagues and he had to stop like doing the illegal moves, there was a massive drop off in skill. And so it's like he is, in my opinion, respectfully, I think he's done a lot for the community in terms of what he did for PBC. I think he isn't a terrible fighter. He has range and drag, and he's not dumb when it comes to fighting. Arguably, though, I would like to not have him on my top 10 list. I could definitely think of 9 other fighters who I think are better than him. And so yeah, and I think I also hold a grudge against him because I've only ever fought him once officially, and it was because it was a last-minute thing. It was really late at night, and I was in facility, and him and one of his friends get on, and they pretty much beg me to fight him. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because I'm retiring, I want to get this done before I go. You're someone who I've always wanted to fight. And I was like, oh, yeah, if you're leaving like legitimately right now, let's get this done. He didn't leave the community for months after this. And my biggest issue with that fight was we went into this really small ring. We're like, okay, how many rounds or whatever? We got it ready. No potions at this time because this was kind of before we really did all of that. And he starts spinning. He starts doing his spinning backhand moves. And I'm like, whoa. I'm trying to like time out, but they're like, no, keep fighting, finish the round. We finished the round, and I'm like, what's going on? You're backhanding. He's like, oh no, backhands are allowed. And he had already slashed my health. It wasn't a league. It was just a random map. He just wanted to fight me on record. And so I'm like, you didn't tell me backhands were allowed. This doesn't make any sense. Like, no, backhands are allowed. And I'm like, okay. So going into round 2, I'm at a significant health disadvantage. And now backhands are allowed. And I'm doing this last minute. So I don't personally count it like on my record. It's a fight we did. But it was kind of... He lied, one, about like, oh, I really want to fight you because I'm leaving, and then he doesn't leave for months after. It's a scummy thing to do, I think. And so, yeah, I discredit a lot because of him personally.
That's right. You've never told me. I think you told me you guys fought officially, but you never told me he literally started sword fighting.
No, you can keep that. That's what
I didn't know. I thought you guys like fought in FNL or something. And
no, it was just a random map that he had.
That's not official. What the fuck? But yeah, that sounds like him. Like especially at that time. Maybe not anymore, but I could imagine him doing that.
Yeah, it was pretty annoying. Oh, we had talked about this earlier, but we didn't want to get into it until the podcast. We were discussing about who we think is like the most skillful, like the smartest fighter who's ever done it. And arguably, I think there's only two people in that discussion. And this is where the whole H2O topic came in. It's kind of a cop out, I think, in many ways. A lot of the time when people use H2O as the best in each category or whatever, we had discussed categories of fighters earlier. But Goldmaster is easily one or two. The only reason I wouldn't give it to Goldmaster right away is even though Goldmaster is amazing at like picking apart a fighter and their styles, he like for Japan, for example, Japan just had a style that was difficult and he did really good at fighting him, but Japan on that day was also crazy, you know. But someone like Samurai, who no one's gonna say Samurai's a bad fighter, but from at least what I heard, he destroyed him, you know. And I think it's his ability to break a fighter's like entire like vibe. And the only other person who I know can do that is H2O. H2O, the biggest credit I give H2O when he was in his prime was he would, especially when he came back from sword fighting, he developed this defensive style where it was like this. And he would just jab you and just kind of stay in the center. He wouldn't do too much. He would maybe go in for a swing every now and again. And he would do that, and he'd build this pace. He set this expectation of, look, if you rush me, you're screwed because I can counter you so well with my defense, like with his stance. And then you'd have to like slowly play this game. And then out of nowhere, round 3 or 4, he would swarm you with these really low bear hugs, and he'd circle you. And it's a level of aggression and an aggressive style I've never really seen be replicated to that extent. It was beautiful. Legitimately, his mental, like, that's the only reason, like, in terms of intelligence, for him to know when to do that, when was the perfect round to attack you, or when to like, slow the pace versus increase the pace. It's, besides Goldmaster, I've never seen it done, and I think Goldmaster is one of the best to do it.
Yeah, dude, Silvio, mute your mic or something, dude. For the love of God.
But you two, I was about to point that out. You guys have pretty loud backgrounds.
Breathe. No, you're not saying.
No, I know, but it's like something. It's just a bad quality mic, so it's like staticky and shit. It's like you can hear it. Oh. And you too, you go and push talk.
So like, do you agree? Like, what's your opinion on that? Who would you say is the smartest fighter?
I think that list is, for me, I'm always gonna go H2O just for smartest. Or is he a skill or smartest? Because I think
it's not smartest, skill. It's smartest. Like
smart.
A decision
okay, yeah, that's basically the same thing. But yeah, I definitely think it's Gold and H2O. Gold is like he's a mix of like modern style too, which is really like he's like an upgraded kind of version. But I've never seen it besides H2O. Literally breaks you apart and like destroys your confidence slowly but surely. And I think the only difference between them is maybe it's just me, but I think H2O can do it a little faster. I think that's just because of his range too, obviously.
Maybe his swarming was crazy. Yeah.
Maybe it was also back then too, with the smaller rings and the less health and everything. So obviously, I think that's fair point to state. But H2O, the thing with him, he'd go into every fight with the exact same like game plan. Like you said, he was very like he was so passionate about winning. Like I think that's also like from the beginning too. That's why his win-loss ratio is so one-sided. But he'd literally go into the match. He'd start off slow, like you said. He'd pick you apart slowly with his jab and stuff, make you realize whatever you had planned to do is just not gonna work. Like basically, like make you have to reconsider everything during the match. And by the time you start figuring out something, you're already too low, and he's gonna just start swarming you. And that's what he did. Like he did it against me in our first fight. In our first fight in WBE, I think we went to like round 5. I was doing okay. I was doing pretty good. I think that it was like a 3-hit difference, and I was working around him slowly. But then eventually he got to a point where like he was kind of moving quicker, and he was kind of figured me out way before I could figure him out. And he got me to a point where I think it was going into round 5 or round 4. I was like half health, and he was I was below half. He was about half, and then he kind of like you could see like as the round's about to, he's like looking at me like with such a different like demeanor now, and then he just swarms me like around me, and there's nothing I'm able to do either. And I saw him do it against like Corrido in WB Crisis. I didn't see the Leo fight, but I saw him do it against everybody he fought, and never not worked except for obviously the couple times it didn't. And even when it didn't, it ended up working at some point regardless. So
yeah.
And then for Goldmaster, I think he's a lot like quicker in terms of like speed, which like doesn't give you much time to think. I can think of for it is when he fought Deadtron in DM. The match started. I think we're a lot of us were worried for Deadtron or for Goldmaster, because I think this was when Deadtron was coming off it was around GTG time. I know he had the controller issue, obviously, but I don't think that defined like too much, because Goldmaster was like making sure not to hit him when it was going wrong. Yeah.
He was coming off Japan win. Oh my bad.
Yeah, Japan win and stuff. Like he was or no, not the. Oh yeah, in DM the win, and then GTG he didn't get his win since he had the forfeit or something, or maybe that was after, one or the other. I don't remember, but either way, he was coming off some like pretty good wins. I think because of the first fight, or not the first, the second fight in OFC 2, where it looked where Tron likely 99% sure would have gotten the win if it wasn't for what happened, obviously. And not to say he didn't make up for it, obviously, but either way, it looked very, very scary. And going into DM too, where there weren't health potions, where there weren't health potions or anything. One sec, I was kind of checking my dog.
Can I continue off it?
One sec.
Yeah, just
Anyways, I'm back. Sorry, but I don't remember what round it ended or anything, but it's the perfect like example of like what we're talking. He just broke him down so there was nothing he could do about it. Like he'd get him in the corner, smack him up a bit, and before Tron could counter him, he'd just back up, let him come back out, and then he'd just do it all again. And he'd do it to where Tron wasn't able to like he wouldn't continuously do it to where he'd counter and then he'd back away. He'd do it where it'd work, and then he knew when to stop, and then he'd go away. And it's the closest thing to H2O. And I think that's another reason why so many people want to see the fight, is because it's just that like that dominance is like so rare.
That's one point. It's like it's the most hopeless I think I've ever seen a fighter ever. But maybe Waddle too. It ended in the third round. The first round, he was up by a good amount, and then after the second round, the health difference was like above half to way below. And like, okay, Maverick, I get it, bro. Okay. Anyways, and then it's not like Goldmaster wasn't even satisfied with just winning trades. He had to just go that extra step. Everyone could just win trades, be up by 1 or 2 hits. No, he was still on his ass. Like, that body shot you landed at the end of the second round? It's one of the meanest shots I've ever seen. Like, he literally just it makes him think, okay, I'm gonna back off, and then he goes close and then like fucking go this and just smacks him in the fucking body, bro. It was vicious, and then he just runs him down the third round. It's like Deadtron had nothing. Like he couldn't do anything.
You mentioned it about how people really want to see the fight between Gold and H2O with like prep time, I guess. Who do you think wins that?
I will say, I think it's like the closest like 50-50 matchup you could ever make between like the two best. If H2O gives prep time, in my opinion, I think Gold is just too smart to like most people when I think of H2O going into a match, I just think like, oh, this person's not really understanding what they're getting themselves into. I don't think he is either, obviously, because he's never fought him. But I think once he gets into it, he will know. And I think like I was always worried for like Corrido and Mamba and everybody else he fought, just because like when they'd get into the match, you could tell like very easily, like their whole like mood is just different. Like, or I take back what I say about like the most 50-50, but I think it's very 50-50 between them. And I think for me, I'm gonna lean towards H2O. I have no reason not to, but I could very well see Gold getting away with it. But I think H2O is smart enough, just like he is. I think he's quick enough, especially for his size too. And I think if he gets to the point where the one thing though I would worry about is at the end or towards the end when he like decides the match is over for you and he goes in for the kill. I'm not sure how well that'll work out. Gold is insanely quick, and when you try to rush him, you'll hit him like you'll hit him, but he'll get the health back to being even. For H2O, it was usually he'd take the hits, but he'd kill you before you had any hope. I think Gold would run circles around him when he's trying to rush him. So I think it'd be technical till the very end. Like if H2O knocks him out, I could see like a random jab being the knockout or something. I couldn't see him like running him down and eating him alive or anything.
I think that's fair. But my question would be is what's a match, because I don't know Gold's all his like match history and stuff. Who said that? Anyway, I'm gonna say this: his range might freak me up. If I do run away, might run away. I don't think he could get close. Oh, is that Siphon? Is that the guy who I beat earlier in a spar after it's been a month and a half since I've been away? Yeah. Is that the guy who got pieced up by Elam Adam today? Oh, right, actually, real fast. I need to bring this up.
Okay.
Siphon, shut the fuck up. Respectfully, and this is giving as much props to Elam that I think I've ever given. Today, Elam
I have the whole spar recorded.
Do you? Dude, this spar was the best I've ever seen Elam do. Elam was like running him down, landing these like perfect three pieces when he was in the corner. I have never seen him ever do this. It was absurd. He's throwing these hooks that Siphon just could not block. It was crazy. It was one of the coolest like spars I've seen in a long time.
Is it like a match of his or something? Because you don't know. You stop him.
So yeah, a match of his where he does get run down. So you know what it was like. I know what it was like when H2O swarms you. Can we ban him or remove him from the room? I hate hearing him talk.
What are you hearing?
Party with him.
I must seem crazy. I'm in an Oculus.
Are you gay, bro?
I
was so confused.
Y'all see this?
I'm so sorry. I was in an Oculus party still from before, and Siphon was in it, and he was like talking shit. That's why I brought that up. I'm sorry. That must have seemed like I was having a schizo moment. Oh my god. No. But you know what it was like when H2O would swarm. He goes low, he circles you, and he throws these pretty much unblockable doubles in these hooks. Like, has he experienced that or someone like that? Maybe Japan, maybe Tron. I don't know. Those are probably the two best offensive fighters I can think of.
There's no way to.
I don't think anyone's replicated it.
Nobody can do that. Like,
yeah.
So we have one match. We had our first Legacy tournament. It was a Legacy tournament, and so this is like my example. So first round not looking very nice, obviously at all. So I took my potion and he didn't. When I did run him down for the KO, but I just barely got it, and a lot of people like I think it's a decent praising. They say I got like good pressure, and when I tried to do it, his countering was like his range looks a lot less scary when you're watching him. Like when you're actually fighting him, I think he'd be able to catch H2O when he's like running at him. So I don't think anybody's replicated it. When I did it though, it didn't work too well. And with H2O, his range is longer and stuff, obviously. But I think he'd get close enough for Gold to catch him out with like the hooks and stuff. And also they'd be the same health or something too.
But so it's his lunging too. Because he's so tall, he can shrink the distance between you in real life by so much. He's so quick with that immediate. I think too is you're not expecting this 6'4" dude to shrink to Pizza Man height. Like you're not expecting that, and then all of a sudden you're having to swing up the entire match to try and hit him, and now he's down here circling you, and you have to your mind isn't ready for that. I mean, I beat him, but it was different. It was a different time.
The only wish I have for this match is that this is the one match where I don't want Goldmaster to like dominate him. I want it to be like an epic fight. Like I want H2O to unexpectedly come out just beating the fucking brakes off him. No offense, or something like that. Or I want him to at least like the fight. Well, okay. I just want the fight to start. He just fucking smacks you with a double off there, or just something cool. Like I just want something cool to happen. Bro.
I want the first like thing in the match to be H2O showing like it's going to be a fight, not like H2O's like washed or anything. Like I want it to be like, oh, Gold's actually in trouble. Like we haven't seen him before. That's what I really want to see.
No, I agree.
Well, if that fight did happen, would you guys want potions or no potions? Because I'm stuck in the middle between it. I don't know what I'd want.
Okay. Look, I have some hot takes when it comes to potions, man. Because in many ways, I think that potions are a cop-out. I think potions give bad fighters a better chance at making the fight more even or close than it really is. Because here's the thing. In a fight, you have bad rounds. Everyone has a bad round. And so you can be doing good for the first 2 rounds, and then round 3, they just figure you out and they like rape you, and then your health goes super low, which is terrible because now you're at such a disadvantage for the next round that even if you do okay, if you're not making, you can't trade anymore because you're just going to lose. Like I think that's why having a little bit of a potion is important, right? Because if you have a potion, you can compensate for that really, really bad round. But nowadays having 3 potions, I don't think it changes much. I think it just allows the worst fighter a longer time in the round. Like it's pointless. It's needless rounds is what filler rounds is what I'd call it. And so yes, I think having a potion is important, but I would argue against like 3. I would argue against 12 rounds too, because I think the more rounds you have, the more it also becomes kind of pointless and filler to where I can lose a round, but it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because I have 6 more rounds to make up for it. Versus, I think 7 is a beautiful number because, I can lose a rounder and still have enough rounds to kind of come back and claw my way out of the hole. Versus, I think 7 rounds a potion. I get that it's not as hype because we want to see them go the distance. We want to see this 12-round slugfest. But in terms of determining who has more skill and who is the better fighter, 7 rounds, 1 potion, or something along those metrics is more reasonable to figuring out who is better than a 12-round 3 potion thing. That's me. Make it 9 rounds, 2 potions, something like that. So Gold's saying that I was going to add potions make it better, but also no potion ends the fight earlier unless we hit each other like 2. So I agree. No potions suck. I think you should have some potions. You need that safety net, but too many potions ruins it. 9 rounds, 2 potions in my head sounds like the perfect number. Do with that as you will.
For me, I think I'm kind of like on board there. It's only because I don't want it to be like kind of like you said, useless rounds. Like, I want like useless like going at each other. Like I kind of want to see. I want them to showcase like how smart they are. Like if it has to be a slower fight, it can be a slower fight. I don't care, but it needs to show like how good they are and like how like unmatched it is. Because like I feel like when there's 12 rounds, 3 potions, for me it's got to a point where like I do not care about the rounds almost. Like I kind of did with Japan. Yeah. I just didn't care because like I'm like. 1 round, there's 8 more to go at this point. Like, who really cares? It's probably gonna be a knockout anyways. And so it kind of gives you like the ability to fight stupid. I don't want them to fight stupid. I want every hit to matter. And I feel like 9 rounds, 2 potions, sure. In my opinion, 9 rounds and no potions. I don't even care. Because I want it to be like I wouldn't want there to be any like moments in the fight where you're like, oh, if they even need to do that, it's not gonna matter in the end. I kind of just want there to be like. I want everything to matter. Like I want it to be like as perfect as it can be, because it's like it's a one-time matchup you can make. It's like it's something like that can never be replicated.
So can I pose this to you? So back in the day, we obviously had smaller rings. which some like PBC's ring was absurdly small. That was too small in my opinion. But like BBL's ring, I liked it. It was a nice medium size. But instead of potions, we had regen. And the reason regen worked back in the day was because the rings were small enough that it was really hard to avoid getting hit. To like every time you got hit, it would reset the regen timer. So you'd have to go like 20 seconds or something before the regen would kick in. So if you were like a defensive god and oh, where did they go? Oh, sorry, y'all like disappeared out of
what just happened, bro?
Whoa.
I just witnessed all that. What just happened?
Yeah, I've never seen that before. That's a first time bug I've ever noticed. That is insane.
I think two universes just merged.
I think he did something.
Because
like there's a game tip we can
dude,
give
I
people's like
back,
avatars for a second.
and I see every single one of y'all gone. Even this guy's gone. I don't understand. That's weird, bro.
That's crazy. I've never seen that
That's
before.
creepy.
That's so weird. Anyways, continue.
That's scary.
Anyway, yeah, so because we had slightly smaller maps, regen worked. Because if you were able to just be defensive for a really good round, it was difficult, but if you did it, you could get that lead back in health versus potions. Like, that was an ongoing thing the entire fight. So it was never, I don't have to worry about potions and potion management, which nowadays people are awful at potion management. We've seen a number of times in extremely important fights, people not knowing when to take a potion, forgetting to take a potion. Like, they're just stupid. They're brain dead. Tron, respectfully, you should have beaten Japan in the green to gold tournament, but you didn't because you didn't take a potion. Like, obviously there was controversy with the hits and everything that happened at the very end. That wouldn't have even been a thing or mattered if he'd just taken the potion. And yeah, that's frustrating. But I think I hate big rings. I think they're stupid. I think it gives too much advantage to someone just running away. Toy Bonnie, I don't think would be nearly as good in a smaller ring. Even with his move, like his move's annoying, but it's counterable if the corner size is more narrow, which you get in a smaller ring because you can cut him off way quicker from the center. So yeah, I've always wanted to move towards slightly smaller rings than what we have now, but not PBC size, bigger than that, but smaller than what we have now.
Low-key, I was just thinking 12 rounds, but with no potions.
It wouldn't go the distance.
Yeah,
That's why I want it to go to a knockout. I feel like if it's 8 rounds, there is gonna be too much of a chance that it'll go.
Is a stretch
I don't want to see
50 hits, 12 rounds. Like no regen, but it'd be 50 hits in 12 rounds.
How about 40? I feel like 20 is way too many to increase it by. That's like a whole fight worth of hits.
Yeah,
I would say 40.
I do think 20 is too much. How many hits is it right now? 30?
30.
Really?
30,
I thought it was like
20
20 or
after
25. I don't know that.
After our series of matches, which I do want to talk about, but it's kind of like where I separate time. DM upgraded it to 30 hits, and I didn't even notice till like midway when I was fighting a DM. But yeah, it's now, which I think also makes a ton of difference now too. But a better difference. I feel like it's better that there's more hits.
Makes early KOs really impressive. Like a round 1 KO is like it doesn't matter who you're fighting. You could be fighting a shitter, and getting a round 1 KO is still pretty hard.
I used to fight in BVL with 15 hits. 10 to 15 hits. It was like 12 to 15. I can't remember exactly. No more than 15.
That's like how?
And this was before potions. So if you didn't get the regen off by being defensive, you were screwed. Like, that's why it was just a different era in terms of how we had to fight, which I love. Like, I think it adds history and stuff to the game and how things develop. But yeah, like that's why you look at all these old gens and like, oh, they're fighting, like their fighting styles are stupid. No, it's how we had to fight. We can't fight like you guys, or we couldn't fight like you guys back then, really, in a lot of ways, because 15 hits, no potion, you get hit. That's a fifth of your health. Like, you're screwed. A double back then, the most devious thing that could happen to you. Nowadays, you get hit by a double or like a 3-piece. It sucks. It's still terrible. But you have a potion you can maybe take. You're at what, 30 hits, so it's not too bad. Back then, that was a make or break of a fight. No, which we still have nowadays later on in the rounds. But at the start of the round, you get hit with a double, you're immediately screwed. Like, you're immediately at a massive disadvantage.
I think the health advantage is why I give people like Tron so much credit, because he's the one guy I know who can constantly get round 1 KOs. I don't know how he does it. Against good competition too.
Yeah,
like, I don't know.
sure. Juju, cool. That was a really good one.
Juju is
Even
an
though it's just
amazing
a
fighter.
Juju. It's pretty cool.
To beat him, in my opinion, was already going to be impressive because when DM14 was going to happen, I think most people had Juju, right?
Mhm.
So to beat him, or I at least everybody that I knew, because he was like apparently really smart. Well, I guess when he was on PC, or like really good. But to beat him was already going to be a good thing. But to round 1 KO him was like the best way Tron could have won that fight.
Okay, I have a question about Juju because I wasn't around whenever he was like popping off and really good. The only official time I've ever fought him was in the tag team with me and him against Pineda. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't my best at that time, to be fair, but I wasn't really impressed by him. He had some good movement, and he was kind of hard to hit sometimes. Like his hitbox was kind of janky. I didn't really complain. I was fine, but it was just kind of hard to hit him sometimes. But that was it. Like there was a lot of hype going into that, like that I heard about how good he was. So it made me kind of on edge, and I was maybe disappointed by it. I was a little bit let down. I was expecting more of a challenge, I guess, because we respectfully ran through Pineda and Juju.
It was pretty horrible.
I knocked out both of them. I got the KO on both of them. Like we ran through them. Like I was really expecting more.
Still mad he tagged out, bro. Still mad.
In Juju's defense, he wasn't at his best at that moment either, obviously. But he's I think just certain styles. I don't know, because like he did odd against even Zane recently, and Zane fought horrible. I think maybe something was just up with Juju or something, but it was just some weird thing. And then Samurai, they fought recently. Both fights they had, it was scarily close. And I think losing to Samurai now is worse than, like, I think you'll hear more if you lose to Samurai than if you beat him now, which is I think that's just how it is now, sadly. But like for me,
is it just all gen styles?
I don't really know. I fought him recently. I got a what? Can you stop humping my back? I beat him I knocked him out round 2, right? You were cornering me. Round 2? Yeah, I beat him in round 2. But then also, I think it was right before that. Who did he just beat? Like right before? No, right before that, or so maybe it wasn't right before. But he just went toe to toe with Goldmaster. I mean, maybe I don't know how long the time period
was. Like 3 events before. Yeah, but yeah, that fight was outrageously close. Juju and Goldmaster.
Yeah, he just had there's just certain styles he like doesn't hold up against. Maybe for you guys it'd be closer. Maybe he won it. I don't know, but he's. I
didn't think he was.
He's very
I fought
technical. He's a smart fighter. I want to say he's as smart as like Goldmaster or anything. Obviously, he's not. But he picks his shots and stuff, and he looks like a like. Is it wrong to say a watered down Goldmaster? I don't know. It sounds like something like that. I don't know.
Fight anything like him. It's too different.
He just runs around and he smacks.
Fights like Tron with less like defensive reaction
Definitely
time,
not Tron.
less like pop on his shots. I'll not explain it.
Maybe I don't know.
Kind of rush and swing their bodies to the side in a similar way. I know he has a different stance and everything, but hold on. I do want to bring this up because you just said is it just maybe old gen styles that do good against him, and he did good against Juju. Can we talk about, because I wasn't even there, can we talk about that fight he had with Japan that like doesn't count anymore, but it was really weird, and he fought 3 times.
There's a fight? 3 times.
There was a fight night. Okay. There was. No. I meant Japan and Juju.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Juju and Japan.
No. My bad. They fought. I swear. Okay. Look, I'll try to summarize it for you because when you were gone, and I wasn't there, but this is what I heard. Juju's hitbox at the end of, I think it was the Jimmy fight, was horrible. I love Juju, so I say this with just respect. I heard he was getting mopped by Jimmy, and then last round he just goes invincible and gets Jimmy to 1 hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard that the thing happened with Japan, except he was like unhittable the whole time, and that started a whole fucking argument with him in Japan, saying he's like, it's just styles, he can't beat me. I don't know. It was really complicated. It was really weird. I think Juju knocked him out badly, like I think 2 times, and then they said one more time, if Japan can beat Juju, then the fight wouldn't count. It was really complicated. I don't know. It was very weird.
I have a question. I have a question for you if he doesn't answer. So, and this is kind of about legacies and like what you value more. Do you value, and this is, I'm kind of thinking about H2O and Goldmaster here. I don't know why it popped into my head, but obviously we say that Goldmaster is arguably the best right now, or Japan may be better, but in terms of accomplishments, Goldmaster's done more. He's beaten like almost everyone. But I think that Goldmaster has had way more close fights in his climb to getting to where he's at now than obviously H2O. H2O ran through everybody besides, I could count on my hand, even the people he like won and beat. He had maybe just barely a few close fights, barely a few. And so what is better to you? So obviously nowadays we say that these new gens are better in skill, right? Yeah, I see. Obviously we say nowadays that these new gens, they have a higher skill level, but Goldmaster has beaten them, but it's been closer versus back in the day, even though arguably the skill level isn't as good. That's what H2O was around. Like, you can only beat the people who are around you. Like, you can't beat people better than your era because they don't exist. So he beat them leagues better. So what do you think is more impressive? The fact that Goldmaster has beaten people with more skill and they're closer, or that back in the day H2O ran through these people, even though nowadays we look back and say, even not everyone was on the same level? Like, what's more impressive to you? Yeah.
I don't know. I think you gotta.
So
he's saying you have close fights with people.
Like a lot of hit-wise, you've had fights that are fucking Kiri. Are we gonna talk about Tron? You arguably should have lost that fight, but you didn't because he fell out the ring. Not to hold that against you, but that has never happened to H2O. Respectfully, how close was the Juju Goldmaster fight?
Was
It was
there ever a point you really thought Juju was gonna win though? Like during it, like was there a point?
Yeah.
I didn't see the whole fight.
No, it's because I had a lot of faith in Juju because Juju was asking me for a lot of advice before. So yeah, I did. But what's it called? It was extremely competitive, but Juju didn't take a potion, I think, and he got fucking mauled.
I don't think you
understand. But Goldmaster was catching on anyways.
H2O beat most of the people he fought at like over 50%, close to 70% health, and like early round knockouts. Yes. Like that. Is that most of your career? Because that's most of H2O's career, is beating people above 50%, close to 70% health.
So for some reason, he has really bad luck in OFC. I don't know why. He dominates people outside of OFC. And OFC
you've also obviously lost more than he has, which I'm not holding against you because you've had, I think, better wins since those losses. I don't ever hold a loss against somebody.
I think it's more matches and stuff. He's been fighting since he was like downgraded, like bad too. So
so like, that would never, if you had a bad loss, so like, oh, this person's ranked number 4 all time, and then they have a bad loss, that doesn't drop them down. You only praise people on their accomplishments or rank them. So that's only what I'm going to do to you.
Like, to back him up real quick, so since you like got like to like when you like started thinking about like the idea of Goldmaster versus better people, he's only lost to me in Japan, right? Like, since like I think those are like the only
past, like I think like 40 fights or some crazy shit like that.
I'd say when I really started thinking about it was like considering this is like around like beginning of the GTG when he was fighting in that. When the one he won, I feel like that's like a good cutoff to like where he like hit his the Goldmaster we know type of level. Instead of
he has a bunch of losses, and like I swear 3 or 4 of them are wild. So a lot of them come from one person.
But I'm more actually, I kind of messed up here because I brought up the losses. I want to talk about his wins. Were his wins as dominant as the wins as H2O had?
I wasn't.
I mean,
I would say no. I would argue no based on what I know about H2O because I don't know his career. But from what I've heard on his wins, I don't think they were as so clear-cut, above 50% health, close to 70 on these matches where he'd steamroll them. Like, I don't know if he's been as dominant as he was on his wins.
I'd say no. One big thing I think like that kind of answers it too, is health potions too. How much longer they go, and also like how many more third, second chances the people he's fighting. Like for H2O, I think of 80 to 90% of his wins. I think of just being like murders more than anything, and like he's had some close wins, but not many. Like I think he's had a couple surprising ones, like Corito and stuff.
Yeah, but Corito's close.
Yeah, Leo, I think got him like 2-hit or something. And I think Mamba too. Mamba arguably would have won if potions didn't come around when they did. Like he might have beaten them in the third match too. But I think potions is a big reason as to why now. But
so we have these differences. So which is more impressive? What he did or what he's doing? What he's still doing right now?
It's like you said, because you can't beat people better than that don't exist. Kind of like him.
Yeah.
So he was learning from what he could learn from. Goldmaster was learning from what he could learn from. So it's not to say like, let's say H2O spawned in like today. If he would learn and climb off and sponge to the people he's around, kind of like Goldmaster did. So he'd probably be even better if we're saying they have more skill now. So he'd learn off of what there is now. He'd build off of those types of people. So I think it is more impressive for H2O since he was the best out of the best, working his way up then, since that's just what he could. That's what there was to work with. There was no other option. Like he couldn't go up and fight Wild Owl, Japan, Goldmaster, any of these people because God knows where they were. And it'd be the same thing if they were around back then too. They'd have to build off of what there was back then. So I think the fact he started way back then and only has 3-4 losses to his name, I think that's probably more impressive because yeah. So I think that's more impressive considering just
I wasn't trying to take a stance on like making Goldmaster's career worse or anything. I just think nowadays there's kind of a lot of debate of when we discuss like all-time rankings and how good a fighter is or their careers, and there's not really a standard that we have. Everyone's opinion is different. So this is one of the opinions I think of. What do you value? Okay, back then we can say that there was less skill compared to now, so it's harder. Like there's a lot of niches in this discussion, and so I just, for that example, I kind of wanted to hear your opinion. Which I agree. Yeah. I don't really know which one I value more. It's tough because I think new gen fighters are very underrated. I think there's at least a good couple that on the top 10 list they should definitely be on. And I think old gens kind of run the top 10 list right now. And I think that is I see Angel shaking his head. I think that's a big discussion that as a community we need to revisit, because a lot of what people look at is that fucking top 10 list that Samurai made where he didn't talk to anybody. It was just his, like, I'm pretty sure it was just his opinion. And that top 10 list is scuffed. It's extremely scuffed. Yeah, Todd was on there.
Yeah, I think we actually got into a couple talks about it during the time. I guess it's off and on right now, but when everybody was active, we got into a little talk about it, and it was he brought up recency bias, but I think because I was the person kind of like in the lead of the conversation, just because one, he just hasn't been around like now, so he doesn't know like all these good people and stuff, and he doesn't know like what they've done and things, and he's kind of just very stuck on back then. That's just the answer. There's no one that can run up, and the closest people running up on it are Goldmaster in Japan, right? If they haven't already run up on it, which they have now. Like it's just a fact.
Think it's no discussion. I think they are better than a lot of people. Anymore. So it's a weird thing of we're underrating. So there's a lot of people outside the top 5. Old gens we underrate because a lot of people. Motive is one of those people. Kirito is one of those people. But then there's a lot of new gens that we don't give enough credit to as well. Like I don't think we give enough Goldmaster Japan. Even I'm not even gonna say his name. Not him. Goldmaster in Japan are people who we don't give enough credit to, especially old gens. And so I don't know. Okay. I kind of want to quickly ask this. We were talking about this earlier, and it's one of my biggest gripes with Samurai since we're talking about top 5 or whatever of all time. He is arguably one of the best people to play the game. Obviously, he got mauled by Goldmaster, but you don't really give him a loss. He came back. He's been gone a while, and he's going against one of the best of all time. Like, he's an amazing, amazing fighter. So, of course, you can't be like, oh, he lost to him. Trash. No, he is one at the time when he was dominant. He was one of the best. In my mind, he is top 5. He isn't my number 2. I would give my number 2 to you because I think you're better than me. And if you're better than me, I don't think Samurai's. I think Samurai's close. I think in my ideal top 5, it goes H2O. You can put me or the babies as 2 or 3 or 3 or 4. I don't care. I think I did my thing, and I can be content with wherever someone wants to put me. For me personally, minimum top 5. If I fall to number 5, that's fine. I don't care. But I think I did enough for the community and whatever, and the things I added. That number 5 is the lowest I'd give myself. But he's very so adamant about I'm number 2, and he won't let you say otherwise. Like, you don't get to decide that. I guess it's the community. And so whenever he's like, this is the top 10 list of all time, I'm one of the best to do it. So that's why your opinion isn't as valid as my opinion. It's so stupid. It's so annoying. It's why the top 10 list is so scuffed.
There's one thing, and I think a reason why they didn't, like, it was never talked about back then, like the people that were going to join throughout time, is because I don't think many people expect it to last as long as it has, for one, either. Yeah. But I think another thing that's kind of catching up to them now is the fact that that thought never came to mind, and the community's still running. So there's different eras, there's different great fighters, there's just a bunch of new things now. So it's like, you can't say that these people can never catch up, because just because they couldn't fight back then, you couldn't fight now then if you're not going to do it then. Like, it's kind of, why I think for myself, okay, let's say when I broke my foot and I never came back, I think my case for even being number 2, maybe even top 5, would be a lot more arguable now. Like, I think you can make the discussion for, like, me and Mamba still, because that if I were to not come back, I would have only had the same time period as him. And I think, like, they never thought about the people and how much it was going to expand and just get bigger, and how many new people there were going to be. And now you have, like, people like Goldmaster who are, like, making a run for the money. I think that's why they're getting really defensive about it, is because it doesn't seem fair to them, because they can make the claim, oh, I'm not as good now, and if you were to find me back then, maybe it'd be different. They can't go back in time. The case is very, very easier for them to make if they were to just get good again and fight now. Like, you can't hold that on them just because they won around 2-3 years ago now. And that's...
Is he have a better career and better skill-wise than Mamba?
Yeah. Mamba... I want to say one thing about Mamba.
Yeah.
During that reign of, like, okay, his win record, I think he has 36 wins, he said, or something. 36 wins, and I think now he probably has, like, about 12 losses or something. He didn't have many matches, though. So, and also his win-loss ratio now, especially, would be, like, I think he'd probably have, like, a 70-65% win rate now, too, with his losses, sadly, since he came back and he kind of got crushed a couple times. But I think if you really divide that, he probably only had about 12 matches during, like, that hellish reign. And the matches he did lose, he never got those back. And Goldmaster, he's probably catching up on 60 now, like, during his reign. 60, maybe even more. Probably more if you really think about it. So it's definitely a big bypass. The people he's fighting and beating, I think they're better, sadly. Or not sadly, I think they just are. Like, Mamba's consisted of people like Aslam, who wasn't bad or anything. Corrido, not bad, obviously, but if you really put Corrido in the ring with, like, Japan or Lada or something, who do you really think is going to come out with the win? If you just got to be honest with yourself. So I think he's just up in everything now in terms of people he's beaten head-to-heads and everything. So
then do you want to know my hot
he
take?
Just runs through. What?
I think it's arguable now that the discussion needs to be made whether or not he peaks through the top 5. And the thing is, at number 5, hands down, we've always kind of put Zayn there. And the reason we put Zayn there is during Zayn's era, which wasn't very long, he did come back and he did do good, but his most dominant time wasn't too long. He was crazy, right? He's a massive influence to every person who's fighting now needs to thank Zayn for pretty much starting it. He really, really was one of the first pioneers of it. I copied him. I copied his style. I became good off of it, and then that also helped push the entire game. But he's really, that's his influentialness or whatever. And we've always kind of put him in top 5. I think Samurai said this. We put him there based almost entirely off of aura, which is kind of true, because if we were going statistically, he would be kind of lower.
Can I say my hot take? It can be a hot take depending who you are. I think the debate, you say it's more debatable between you and Samurai. I think it's more Zayn and Samurai. And I think Zayn, I had a couple talks with Zayn while he was back, actively. And he was kind of, I think him being back, he kind of just got to the point where he accepted, whatever. You guys think Samurai's better than me, whatever. I don't really care. I don't do this anymore. He came back and he was getting good again. He was doing really, really nice. And he was talking to me. He was like, it's getting actually it's getting kind of annoying. Everybody's kind of sleeping on him and nobody's really looking at it. Nobody even talked about this. Zayn has an official win over Samurai in FNO. I didn't even know about that. I had to look back like a month ago because nobody ever brought it. Zayn didn't even bring it up to me because he just didn't want to argue about it. Samurai never told me that Zayn even beat him before. And then when I asked him about it, he said probably I've lost to Zayn before. Never said that before. I think Zayn's. I think it kind of comes back to there being more arrows now. So what you do now also matters just what you did back then. If you really want to keep catching up, Zayn came back 2 weeks notice, masterclass on Nori, and I think that alone really outlevels what Samurai kind of did when he came back. Outside of the first Goldmaster fight, there's really not that much that really went. Zayn came back. I think he had COVID or something. He beat Pineda on like an hour's notice in a fight night, which, okay, Samurai did that too, but this is Zayn. This is the one we're sleeping on, and we're saying that isn't really in the argument. I think Zayn has just as much, maybe not just as much, but influence. Back, he was like the pioneer of all of it.
Of aggressive style.
Without a pioneer, there's not as much future in history. And I think he...
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you're saying. The only thing I would maybe give Samurai against it, and this is something, the reason why I don't think he passes people like Samurai or me or whoever, or even Zayn yet, maybe Zayn, that's, to me, that's the debatable question. I think he's getting there, is the longevity aspect, because Samurai was around a long time. He fought for a while, then he left, and then he came back and did pretty good in WBE. And then he did just beat Nori and Jin. You talk about how Zayn's on that masterclass against Nori. He did it against Nori and Jin. He had two lives or whatever, and it was kind of like a 2v1 situation, so it's not completely accurate of a 1v1 fight. He can still beat him, and so I think your ability for him to be around so long and then come and still be able to compete with these new gens who we say are better, that to me tells me that his skill ceiling, which is really what I base a lot of the top 5 on, is how your skill ceiling. That's why he's up there. Because if I had...
Is it Zayn or Samurai? Which one? We're talking about Samurai?
I'm talking about Samurai. I'm giving Samurai the props because I think Zayn has those props too. It's just that Zayn's career is a lot shorter, which is the sad thing. Not to say that his skill ceiling isn't there. I think both have really high skill ceilings. So, okay, what do we look at next? Longevity. And who has the better longevity in my eyes? I'm kind of gonna give it to Samurai, which is why I put him above.
I think shorter career and been around longer. He came back, and he lost to Goldmaster. Who cares? Lost. And he lost to me and Goldmaster and Juju recently, but me and Goldmaster then, and Juju. He came back though, and Samurai's been back since he came back before. He beat Jimmy and DM. That was pretty impressive. That was a really good look for him. But came back then, OFC 5 around then. Off and on, he's been fairly active since OFC 5. That's coming up on 8 months, something now.
7 months ago.
Yeah. So it's not like he came back just for a day and did these fights. He's been off and on. Like he hasn't like left for a year or anything. Like since OFC 5 he fought Goldmaster, and then he lost that. And then I think for some reason people kind of think he just stopped then. The Legacy tournament was only maybe within a month after that fight happened. So he was fighting in there. And so that's already 2 months of being active enough. He lost in that. And he does have his wins, but if there was crisis, that was a pretty devastating loss. I think that's worse than the Goldmaster loss recently. Hot take. Maybe it was fairly close, but I think it was pretty close in terms of how bad it was. Either way, they were both horrible, so there was no comeback from either of those. Had a close fight with Dudeman in Legacy and lost Pineda. Recently, he beat Pineda, so that's cool. Went toe-to-toe with Juju. Had his win over Jin and Nori. Beat Booyah. So his longevity isn't bad. Just he's had a lot more time. Zane came back, Legacy tournament. Before that, he did a fight with Goldmaster, but I'd be lying if I said he prepared at all. Like he just got on and he fought and did okay and not very good. He lost. It was pretty obvious how it was gonna go. But he came back like to actually like put in some effort and just gave him within like the first week beats Pineda. That's already a step up, and that's very, very shorter time. And then you're kind of thinking, okay, Pineda's doing a little rough now anyway, so maybe that was just a little. He does a 3v3. Everybody was aware there's gonna be a win on the record. I don't think everybody was like really like sweating for it, but everybody in that match wanted to win on the record. Goes in there, does really good against everybody in that match, even Japan. And then they're like, okay, so then kind of getting a little worrying for Nori, who came off a close fight with Samurai. And the fight happens. Zane hears there's money on the line, runs through Nori. It's the worst old gen beating from an old gen to a new gen I've seen yet.
Pretty sure the rounds were 11-0.
It was, yeah.
Oh my god.
Samurai didn't even beat Booyah that bad. Zane dominated Nori, the BMF champion, the guy who's like becoming like a very, very underrated name. So I think when you think about longevity, I think Zane just like didn't care to like really prove anybody wrong till he did. And I think he did it in such short time after such a long break. Like he had one official before he came back. He had one official since I started. Wait, no, two. No, one, because one of them he was a giant crayon. So he fought Pizza Man, and that was it. Besides Samurai and like PBC and BBL, I'm not really thinking about those because they kind of just got on and fight for fun for no reason because they were best friends. But since then, he's had, if you count those, that's 3 officials since I started. So after 2 years, he comes back, did as good as he did. Huh?
So since you started playing.
Yeah, since I started playing, when I started, he fought
shit,
Samurai.
That's like way bigger of a gap than I thought.
He fought Samurai and PBC, lost BBL too. He might have fought Ishol after I started. I'm not sure. BBL. Either way, he lost. But I think that was before. And either way, he wasn't like really like constantly active or anything. Like I didn't even get to spar him during this time period. And then his last official was beating Pizza Man at BBL. So that was probably March. No, I think it was like March or April. 2022, 2022, and then to 2024. That's 2 years, and he did very good. And Samurai is known for his occasional comebacks. I think Zane's longevity might be better.
So, but okay, so we're gonna say that, and I guess this question is, I feel like you favor me being above Samurai more than Samurai being above me, but why? I guess is my question.
It's no like bias thing. Like I like both of you. I'm good friends with both of you. I think so. When I started, a lot of the credit being given to Samurai was more his influence because he wasn't really like actively fighting constantly.
Mm-hmm.
So more what I was hearing about was his match with H2O that happened months prior. That was the only thing I was really actually hearing about. And besides that, I was like what's really like going on? Because when I saw him fight, I'd see him hold up. Like he did good against most people who fought. He beat Gearless Joe pretty and beat PBC. I saw him beat like I'm thinking too hard. I can't really think because I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting him. Like there wasn't anything. There was stuff. I just can't think of it right now. But when I started seeing him fight more, I started seeing him got dominated by H2O. And then it was like, oh, and then I saw him lose twice in a row to Alex. Whether they were fluky or not, I don't know. I wasn't there for him. It was FNO, and these were in the build-up to H2O fight. So these were matches being carefully taken care of because of how big the hype was for FNO's final event. It went pretty south. So this is already 6 months in. When I start WBE and I talk to you, I think I like text you out of the blue and talked about you coming back. And I think that's what really kicked it off. And you came back and we started sparring. I was like, Jesus, like there is like a difference between when I've been fighting Samurai to like some of these other people. Because like Samurai, I love him and everything. But eventually for me, especially sparring constantly and stuff, I got used to the couple moves he did. It was like you know, like you're still one of the best, but like eventually I'm gonna catch on and I'm gonna be able to just catch with a jab or something. I'm gonna time these things right. For you, I heard a lot about you, but everybody discredited you kind of, like went around. Like Pizza Man would kind of talk down on you. I'm like, oh,
because fuck Pizza
Man. I hear it from like Lex, even Mamba often. I'm like, just some like nobody was like, everybody like kind of like talked like you were.
I find it funny that Mamba
like
did
your
that
name was
when he
more
stole
popular.
my whole flow.
like as if your name was more popular than your actual, than your deserving level of what you deserve to be talked about. And then we started. I sparred you a good amount. First day even, it was like you were doing pretty good. Like it was, I could tell you were rusty, like off the mat, but you were doing good. And then you started continuing, and then I learned more things people wouldn't even tell me about. I didn't know you really beat H2O. Like I heard something happened, but people talked about it like it was a spar or anything. People still called him undefeated. Like I didn't know he actually had a loss on his record.
Everyone thought Mamba was the first one to KO.
That's what people thought. Yeah. And then I think I
did KO him, by the way, for the title. If anyone's wondering.
I think I compared you a lot to myself, to where I was getting some credit, but not as much as I thought I deserved. So I was kind of like I kind of had to remind people what I did because people were so stuck on the idea of just Samurai, Pizza Man, and all these other people being like the very, very best. And I was like, okay, I kind of get where you're coming from. And then you told me all that you did, and I'm like, where's the credit for this? Like why is nobody like really like kind of just sucking it up that there are some people in competition? Because like no offense, I love Samurai and everything, but he is not the same discussion as like H2O. He's passable and stuff, and he wasn't like some god. Like it wasn't like H2O can come back in a day, and he still has a pretty good % chance of beating whatever top name you give him. Samurai, on the other hand, that's just not the same thing. And not even saying that for myself, it's the same thing. Like with H2O, I'm not the same thing like H2O either. H2O is H2O. But I just think, especially just what I've seen, how you hold up longevity. There's accomplishments. I think accomplishments between you guys fairly closer. Head to heads. I think
he's ahead of by one.
something like that. Even with other people though.
For months, by the way, he has never wanted to rematch me ever. No matter how many times I asked him, like for the last like year and a half or whenever since he's kind of been back and I've kind of been here, he said no. He's never wanted to rematch me. And I think it was because he worried that if I won, I would ask for like another one afterwards to be like, okay, well now we're tied 2-2. Let's settle it. I don't think he wanted to do that. And I think respectfully, I think I beat him. But
I think just another huge thing too is kind of bias. Other people have to at least acknowledge what you do for it to actually like really matter. Like, okay, let's say like H2O. Nobody talked about what he. Let's say nobody talked about what he did. That'd be different because then that's just being ignorant. But the only person that really talks about it, even like at that time period too, like back then before all the new gens came in, only people that really talked about it was Samurai himself more than often, more than normal. And I just think I can't name many things that he did outside of maybe influence of PBC, but I think influence is kind of being overrated to an extent now, because so there's some people that's influence could be so high that they can make. We're talking about top 10 pound for pound rec room boxers. We're not doing top 10 pound for pound league owners, and I think that kind of matters when you're saying like, oh, my influence is so high just because. Let's say Gold Master. I'm not saying it is, but like let's just say Samurai speaking, saying just because Gold Master did all this and was so much better, I own PBC, so I'm a better rec room boxer all time than him. And it's kind of like, okay, so is Bandicoot a better rec room boxer all time than you because his league basically is to blame for everything happening?
Yeah.
Like I think that gets to an extent to where it's like, what is really holding you back from being lower or being higher than Samurai? And it comes to the same thing with what's holding Zane back too. Like I think it was just a lot of personal bias for a long time that was never really addressed till now. And I think now is like the good time to finally just admit that it's not like an impossible thing.
Yeah. I mean, I also, and this is, if I'm going to give myself credit for anything, I do like my ability to where I can leave for months on end and come back and still hold my own, or at least I think particularly spars, because I do that a lot more. And a good example was when I came back after that really, really long break, the first people I fought was Wild Owl, Atomic, a few other people were in the room. I think Silvio, I think you were there. It was in the Hitman gym. The first day
Zane's watching.
Yeah. It was the first day I came back and I like ran through Owl and I ran through Atomic and I was just beating these people who I hadn't been on Rec Room in fucking like, months, you know.
Killed WoW was so bad. He was on PCVR too. It was so crazy.
Yeah, and I think I think in terms of influence as well, I don't have a lot when it comes to leagues, really none at all. But in terms of fighting, I'd argue one of the most influential people, just based on the style that me and Zane did, which I got from Zane, but I kind of changed it and made it more modern. The style I really propelled more into mainstream, but then also the double, the most basic of all Rec Room moves that we all do, where we throw the double hooks and combo moves. That was my shit. I made that. That was me. And so in terms of influence, in terms of fighting, I think I get underrated. But I don't really care. I think you make some valid points. I do like my longevity. I think I can always come back and still hang decently. And I like that. If I ever became like really outclassed, then I'd probably stop. But
I think it just owning the league should not like put you above a person. Like, okay, it can be like an addition, definitely. But I think like, okay, let's say you two are like so close and everything's so close, but he has that one top thing over you, not even Rec Room boxer related, like in the ring.
Yeah.
He just owned PBC, so he's a little above you. Then it's like okay, so everything we did in the ring and stuff, top 10 pound for pound Rec Room boxer, not not influencer or anything, or record boxer. It's like why? Well, why does that really make you so much better than me then?
You swayed my opinion on Zayn really heavy. And I was like one of the biggest Zayn meat riders for a very long time. I was probably one of the last people who thought that Zayn was better than H2O of all time. Like number one. I was probably the last person before everyone really said, yeah, this H2O guys is the shit. I was probably one of the very last people who said that. And I think just him being gone, I think I did start to discredit him more. I think there's much more of a conversation about him possibly not being number 5 and maybe even number 4 than we kind of give him credit to. But then the thing is, I think Goldmaster, for example, who I think is the best arguable person to put higher in the top 10 rankings. So I think he's better than Motive. And depending on the day of the week, I have Motive in my top 10. I think he's probably better than Kirito in terms of accomplishments and skill, so let's throw him above him. I think in terms of accomplishments and skill, he's above Mamba. I don't have Pizza Man in my top 10, but if you want to put him, if Pizza Man is in your top 10, I think he's better than him. Lex Play is in my top 10. I love Lex Play. He
definitely in mine now.
I think maybe one thing we were discussing this earlier. Underrated.
I think top 10 is finally like being filled with valid names now. That how much more like knowledge and stuff's coming out. How many more new people too? Like I think even Japan and Gold even getting into conversation now is finally like it's more deserving. Like when we were talking about top 10 like a year and a half ago, we were like trying to think of like, dang, who else we even put in here? Like we were just kind of thinking like who else is like there's like it felt like there was such a gap between like White Mama to Happy Motive or something like that. It kind of felt like a huge like there was just a gap. So it was just like, do we even like think about top 10? Do we just think about like top 7? But I think now there's like actual people like coming like leaking out of like the little bubble there is. So I think it's a bigger argument now. I think Goldmaster's pushed his way so far into that bubble now to where it's like
I think he's 6 or 7.
Arguably
I think Mamba, higher, but 6 or 7.
I think Mamba went from like an arguable 6 or 7 to like maybe 10 or something like that. He's getting pretty high up there. I think Goldmaster. I'd
have to revisit the list. That seems low off rip. I'd have to revisit my old list, but I definitely think he's dropped from 6.
The 9 or 10, something like that. But I think Goldmaster like pushes his way into there too, where it's like, well, what's actually like holding him off from like going into that 5 and pushing out whoever gets pushed out, which I don't think it was ever like thought about.
I think it was ever. I think more time, and he can probably definitely do it. I'd be surprised if he doesn't.
Guys,
I think he needs that. All these other people now. Everybody in the top 5 has officially had their longevity improvement. Like they came back a long time, a reasonable amount of time after, a long time, and or it just lasted for a long time, whatever you want to call it now. I think he needs to give it time. I think after he gets like the fights he wants, 6 months or so, whatever, or when there's a considerable amount of new faces now, and good faces, in a time period, comes back. He doesn't have to be as good as he is now. He doesn't have to like nobody else had to be, but if he can hold up, still beat even majority of them, it doesn't have to be the best, but if he does, it obviously be a big thing. I think that's really when you should start talking about top 5. I think the one thing he hasn't proved yet, which is a big category and like a person's resume to top 5, is longevity. He hasn't proved anything yet. So for what we could know, which he won't be obviously, but it's just it's just a theoretical thought. But he could be terrible. Let's say he's like terrible and like in like that time later. Then it's like maybe not top 5, but that's also why like people like Motive or Cesaro and stuff aren't really. They never like kind of showed their top 5 or not their longevity, and Mamba showed his longevity.
And
I think that also
showed his
was
longevity.
The Motive
and So in a weird way, because Motive was around during the not power boxing, during the boxing league era. Like that's really where Motive started, was with Dead Max and Pluto and all those motherfuckers. And I mean, you know exactly. That's where he started. Was ages ago, before there was really any leagues, and he was crazy. He was really, really good. And then he went away for like when I started, like FNL BBL first started, he wasn't there. But then he did come back in like BBL's prime and he showed up. He was on my team, Greek Gods of Boxing. He was on the team with me and Zane. He beat everyone he was fighting. He was crazy. He's absolutely like his movement was insane. So I think it's not as crazy as like my longevity, for example, or yours or Samurai's, which is why he isn't in that top 5 discussion. But for one of the reasons he isn't, but he definitely has proved longevity capabilities. Same with Kirito. I think Kirito, who was in his arguable prime back during BBL days, did really good, beat a lot of good people, at least went like he was toe to toe with like strong individuals, stayed around a really, really long time, took some breaks, came back, and that's Tron, but he still was able to hang. Like he never came back and I guess didn't seem like a decent fighter or a good fighter, which is what we at least bare minimum require for someone like Gold here to prove their longevity. So I think in many ways these people have done it, but it's just not discussed as much. We really look at like their more achievements and skill, and that's what we really think is like their more dominant trait for why they're in the top 10. But they do have it. I think they still have that longevity factor. It may not be as strong, which is why they're lower in the top 10, but it's there, and so I think you can't discredit it. I give him credit for it. I love that. Yeah. It's weird because he knew the boxing league people. He knew about them. He was arguably there, but he didn't compete in leagues, and so. Another thing is I don't know anything about him. I never heard anything about him in terms of skill whenever he was around during that time, which sadly is a fault to him. Like if I right now were to go back and hear a bunch of stuff from Motive and Dead Max about what's his name? Not I can't remember. I'd have to have it written down. But if they were to come to me and say how like crazy good he was, then I think that changes his legacy in a weird way. But I've talked to them before, and I went back and fought most of them, and I never like they would talk about each other. Zork has been around a long time, in a really weird way. Leo has been around a long time. Like there are so many people we forget. Tokyo has been around a long time. See, I was okay. Moto was like sparring. I can't go down sparring tour. Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's weird. There's a lot of like like Leo and Tokyo have been around. I think longer than me. Not by a long time. Maybe like a couple months or maybe a couple weeks.
Leo was longer than you.
Leo.
You told me. I thought he came in during FNL.
Oh, I also came in during FNL. I missed the first event. No, I was there at the first event because I fought.
I'm pretty sure Leo joined in. I thought I saw the messages where he joined. I thought he got introduced by like Kirito.
Yeah, maybe he did join after me. I don't really remember. I just know that there are maybe like 1 or 2 people in the community who have been longer than me. But other than them, I'm the longest person.
One thing, this has not been addressed for like the past hour. That is terrifying. I hate that.
Dude. Oh my god, his hand. You think it's terrifying? His hand encroaches onto my space. And so I'm just like, oh, okay. And his head is like leaning off. This was Maverick, I believe, his doing. And yeah. I mean,
hold on, guys.
Hey,
security's here to take him out, sir. Sir, you have to leave. I'm sorry, you're not supposed to be in the podcast.
Who's this,
sir?
Oh, Jin. I have Jin muted, so if he's saying stuff, it doesn't matter. Maybe we should pivot. I feel like
he said you were a little fanboy.
Dude, Zane? Yeah, I was a massive fanboy. Do you know the hype that I got told about when I first came into boxing about Zane? Like, to me, he was his, like, god. Because that's how people described him. And I remember the first time I met him was in facility because Bandicoot introduced me to him. And I was like, this guy's so cool. Like, oh my God. And his outfit was cool. The name Zane was cool to me. And so I started sparring him, and I think he told me I did good. And I don't know why. I think he took a liking to me, which is the only reason why we just sparred a bunch. We became really close, like sparring partners during that time. And that's the only reason I think I became as good as I did in such a short period of time. Is because lucky for me, I got the chance to have my sparring partner be the best fighter of that era, which was crazy. Like, lucky me. I mean, good circumstances. It's why I'm here now. But yeah, massive fanboy. And then he disappeared. Zane, oh, by the way, y'all know how I like to disappear out of the blue randomly? I guess Zane was the start of that, because Zane disappeared out of the blue after being on top. He had just won another match, and he just dipped, stopped communication with everybody for an extremely long time, and then just came back out of the blue. And maybe subconsciously I remember that, and I'm like, yeah, I can just dip from the community and come back. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter.
Zane just came online. Who's this? Bro.
Anyway, I feel like we should pivot. We've been talking a lot about like legacy and these like long-term, big, deep discussions. Maybe something that's a little bit more happier.
Basically, to sum it up, Zane is not like an underdog in top 5 by any means. Influence doesn't necessarily make you a better record boxer on the pound list, and Goldmaster needs a little more time to show his longevity. Well, one thing I do want to talk about though, that we never like got to. I think we might have done like a gloves up episode on it. Maybe. I don't even know if I think we might have stopped gloves up before this happened. But for me, when I think of like the older era, like Deadline was the end of that. Because after that, everything changed. And I think another thing that was so cool about it was it wasn't for like a championship or anything. It was like just to like prove something. And also it wasn't so perfect. I think we theorized like how it could go. There's probably messages. We talked about how cool it would be if a tiebreaker or something. And we did just like, it could have not been any more like head to head. It was so perfect.
I wish I could go back and beat your ass, because I'm so much better than you, man. You're so trash.
I wouldn't even
so trash.
Okay. See, now I gotta be mean. Oh, I'm joking, but it was like we had a draw on that, like, which made it. If we went 3.5 to 3.5, that's what we were calling it, to go on to our 8th match. This was when Angel made this poster too, which is so weird to think. He made that poster for us. He commentated our last fight. Remember we got witches involved? Like, this is when all these new people started coming in. Like, it was so weird. Like, it was like during that series. That's when we introduced Japan to like the actual like bigger leagues. Like, he got noticed. Like, I didn't even know who he was till he started fighting. And he fought at one of our undercards. It was kind of like a goodbye to some people, like Goji. He fought Raven that. It was like a really cool, like, it was a really cool
that we had matches. We had one undercard match per fight, and it was like good, like dream fights kind of thing is what we were going for.
Yeah, we had like Broda. I guess this wasn't a dream fight. That's terrible to go on from, but we had Broda and Elam Adam as our first in the RRBC arena, whatever it was.
Oh my God. One of my favorite fights of all time happened as an undercard in one of those matches. Who was it that made the most insane comeback? You know what I'm talking about.
Limson Japan.
Was that Limson Japan? Was it Limson
remember
who made
Japan,
that comeback?
It was in BBO, Kirk Hammett Stadium. Japan was killing him. Lims comes back, and like, I think Japan like just played with him too much, and he ate dirt for it. Like, the last
final round, somehow he did it. That because he needed it. He was a knockout situation, and he did it. And I was shocked. It is in my top 5 favorite matches I've ever seen, because it was so like, how do you do that? Like, it was crazy. Oh yeah, that was such a good match.
Yeah, it was so like, I don't know, that the whole thing is like so cool to me. It was so fun to do. It was kind of like, it happened best time period imaginable. It was when it was dying down with older leagues. Some of the old gens were starting to actually like kind of say goodbye. That's when we were kind of like talking about like remember that that thing you made with all the signatures. We were kind of like just assuming like oh it's all gonna die now. So like we didn't think any hope. I definitely did not think Ghosty was gonna be the one to continue it like by any means.
I love that picture, by the way. There was so many. Oh, what are you doing, cameraman? Anyway, there was so much negativity going around the community, and it was kind of really sad. And people were talking so mean or whatever, leagues dying, and I felt really bad. And so I made that a signature thing. Which, by the way, Samurai wants to say that he made one before me. No, he didn't. Because he had sent me the copy after I'd already posted it in my Weedy Topics, and he sent me the copy to sign. Like, come on, stop lying. Anyway, plus mine looked better. I didn't actually get the signatures from people. That was me like signing it myself. But no, I made that because I wanted people to know. I mean, I've been around in the community 5 years at this point since I was 15. I started this game when I was 15. I'm 20 now. I'll be 21 this year in December. I've graduated high school. I've gone through relationships. I've gone through college. I've gone through jobs. Like I've gone through having to move into my first apartment and then move countries. Like so much has happened to my life during the time I've also been in the community. And I just wanted to give the people, especially on that list, a thank you. These were the most influential and important people during my time of everything going on, good and bad. And so, yeah, I really like it. I have it. It's coming in my shipment of stuff from my house. Yeah, I like that thing though.
It was really cool. I especially like during the time period and stuff. Like it really looked like it was just all over. Like I kind of thought then there like I've been running it for about around a year at that point. It was kind of like all pushed on me, and I was kind of like I didn't want to continue it. I tried finding people who I thought could continue it, and just nobody was able to replicate it really. And luckily, Maverick came in, and a lot of people give Ghosty the huge credit. It was more Maverick. Maverick he made DM, and it brought in good new people, new faces. It brought in like popular names. It got on like the featured rooms and everything. Like it made Record Boxing like a lot bigger, and he's basically like in charge of doing it. Really cool.
So this kind of ties into something I wanted to ask you about. What do you think your greatest like impact, the contribution to the community has been?
Oh yeah, I didn't know what you were asking. I didn't know if you meant accomplishment or
no, but just contribution.
I think. God, bro, I'm gonna beat the.
How do you get scared by that? Someday. It's not scary,
bro. Cause shut up. Anyways, I don't really know. I don't want to like rub it on myself too much, but I think it's pretty fair to say when I started running PBC, or I started like really getting into league running and stuff and like more leadership.
Oh, you mean when
things.
You took over PBC?
Yeah, that one.
It's okay. Tell the story.
I didn't go too good. I didn't go too good. I'm not even. Shut up. Anyways, I'll consider like
little
WBE.
Dictator.
If PBC were to just end there, I wasn't given a chance. ABL was already gone, and sorry to say, ABL was not going to do anything at all. ABL sucked, so it wasn't like if that were the only league around, it would not have done anything. It was horrible. It was ran by Jake from State Farm, who was around once every 2 months, and Rave Darts. And
Jake.
FNL was dying pretty badly. Leo wanted to leave. Dice wasn't around. BBL was. It died before it ended. Like Bandy just stopped running it. He tried passing it on to me, you, and Floaty, and we can't run BBL. It's Bandy's thing. That's what he does. Nobody can do it like him. If I didn't start WBE, I like I'm pretty confident saying nothing would have really happened. None of the old gens would have been contacted like you. I would have hit you up and got you to come back. H2O would have left. All the league owners would have been done then at that point. All these people would have just been moved on. But if you really think about it, there's very few people who have actually just moved on entirely. Like everybody's still around in some shape or form. And I think for me, it's just continuing it, because I've been here since I was 13. I'm 16 now.
Hey guys,
as long as you, but hi, very nice mic. But it's been a long time.
Holy shit, that scared the fuck out of me.
It was so loud.
But I've kind of gotten to since I turned 13. These are like the important years now. So I've gotten to kind of go through everything with everybody, and it's kind of it's definitely like something I'm gonna remember forever. Whenever it does end, it's still always gonna be there.
Well, but, our kids are gonna fight each other, no? Generational grudge
my
match.
kid's gonna beat the shit out of you, but we're not gonna.
No,
talk
he's
about
not, bro. Or she.
Yes,
Dude,
he
my
is.
daughter could crush.
Bro,
you.
my
Oh
kid
my
will
God.
beat your fucking ass.
Dude,
Probably
without
because he's gonna be
fail.
600 pounds, bud.
Oh, that's crazy.
I'm joking.
Wow.
Dude, we were go to like be nice again. We were talking about he looks like 180. He's like 230. I don't think you've seen like a full body picture of him. He's like 230, but he looks like 180. Dude, he could be like a tank. It's kind of weird. Atomic has a weird genetic thing too. Atomic is like 160, a decent height. He has really good shape. That's just something I want to throw out there. I've never pointed it out yet. I meant to say it like a couple podcasts ago. But anyways, I think it's starting WBE, because I think that's when if it wasn't for WBE, nothing else would have happened. Ghosty wouldn't have came around. Maverick wouldn't have came around. None of these people that like continued it would have been around. So it's probably just WBE.
So can we get heated real fast? Because now that I know Goldmaster and Angel both have mics, I think they disagree on our opinions about this. And we disagree with a lot of the community about this, and it being the belts. It being the IRL belt system.
Okay.
And I think I don't know if you've had like actual backup when it comes to this discussion, or if you've had a
Only
fight
you.
alone. Yeah. So I'm here now. And I'll just put it out there. I think all you motherfuckers in the community are brain dead pieces of shit. Don't have any skill, and you want more belts because there's no way in hell. There's no way in hell that anybody, majority of the people who are like, we want multiple belts. It's because they are high mid-tier skill level, and they would never get the number 1 belt because they couldn't beat the number 1 player. So they need 6 belts or whatever else in order to even compete for a belt. So they
That's
can
what
add that to their
Siphon was
accomplishments.
crying about.
Did you disrespect me, bro? I rewatched back, bro. I didn't even know you said that side, bro. What's up?
Can I say my part of it?
I'm sorry.
First of all, watch your mouth about talking about me.
Yeah, fuck you, nigga.
To be fair, I did not say I wanted the belts back. I said it'd be
Okay, you didn't say it.
it'd be kind of like useless since we already like. Yeah.
Nobody defended me.
Yeah. What was it? Never said it, but I did say the only reason why I didn't want them back is because we already unified them, right? So get the fuck out of here. What was I gonna say too? But I at least like having like at least 2 or 3 belts would be cool. Just not like 6 or like 4.
Yeah.
Like I mean 4 is okay, but like he said, it's more of a because some of them can't really like beat like really good people, which sucks.
Okay, so here's
But I also agree with what Angel just said too, bro. You should get.
I'll fuck
You're
him
a
up
punk,
right
bro.
now. I'll beat you right now after this podcast.
You're a punk, bro.
You had to cheat in order to beat me in a spar, so yeah, let's go. Let's say things.
What
Let's
part
say
of
things.
TT?
Did I have to?
No,
did
he did.
Oh,
I
he
No, he's talking
I
about
beat him
me,
the first
even though he
day-
doesn't
I beat him
remember
the
that.
first day I came back, and then the
CT,
second day we
CT,
fought again.
CT.
And he had multiple things. He slid into the third rope in the most egregious third rope I've ever seen. It doesn't
No,
matter.
I didn't. bro. He's lying.
We literally unmuted it because we were like, that was pretty egregious, and that's why he wanted the hit back. Number 2, he hit me at the very start. So we were competing or whatever, and then someone died in the middle of the game, so we had to like leave, like we couldn't hit each other anymore. It was Silvio, and we were like arguing about who had more health. It was me, by the way, by a hit. That should say everything you need to know. And then we go back in, and we're getting ready to fight, and he just cheap shots me. I'm like, what is that for? He's like, I wanted to see your health. And so he needed to do that, little garbage man.
But that's the thing. I gave him his hit back, so then we were Gucci, bro. And then this guy comes out of nowhere, bro. Yeah. He's like,
I didn't take it.
And the first round, you went third rope, and I said, well, you could have gotten your hit back.
I'm all about empowering.
Also,
these new gens
he's acting like he got me like to 1 hit. he got me to like 5 hit.
It was like that 5 was
it.
Hit.
Yeah, it was 5 hit.
You gotta.
So if he
took
that 1 hit,
you gotta empower these new gens. You know. I mean, hey man, cheating and do whatever. Hey, you'll grow out of this phase. We already talked about this.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Bro, watch your mouth talking to my King Go Master, bro.
Yeah, you better watch your mouth. You better watch your mouth.
Dude,
this never happened.
I have to fight Japan. I hate that I have to fight Japan in this upcoming WSB card. I'd kill you. You're garbage. Anyway.
Oh, dang.
I didn't point to Sylvia. I pointed at you. No.
Oh, I was like, what the fuck did I do?
Nah, because you're complaining about it when he makes the cards.
Trash, man. Dude, I love Japan. He just scares me. He's too good. He's better.
Yeah, because he beat your butt before, bro.
Dude, he's so good. I can maybe beat him now. I know how to go low now. I didn't really know that in our fights before. I go much lower than I do. What was I gonna say? You're terrible. Who is in charge of scheduling fights here? Y'all are in charge of scheduling fights? Please give me a fight with Lukey Boy. Please let me end his streak again. Oh my god. That would bring
let me
so much
Lukey Boy
joy.
Let him live. You put this dude through enough.
I know, but it'd be funny if I just became known for ending this man's like life. Because of that.
Whoa. I'm gonna clip this. I'm gonna send it.
Let me end his thing, bro. Please. Let me bro.
I want to end his streak.
Let me beat him.
He's so good.
Yeah.
I like him as a person so much and respect him as a fighter. And he does get better. Like, he's not someone who just stays bad. And every one of our fights he did get, like, I could see the improvement. So I really want it because I almost want him to win. But I know that I would beat him, and that's why I really want to do it.
Mr. Reed.
What if he just knocks you out like how Rice did?
Rice was just me
Bro,
being dumb.
who addressed that? Let people know. I'm tired of being the only one defending it. For you defend it.
Yeah.
Tell people what happened.
So a lot of people don't know. I raped that man in round 1. Like it was terrible. That round 1 was disgusting from my end. And then round 2, I kind of just wanted to get it over with. I knew what I could do when I played at my best, considering round 1. I was like, let's just get a round 2 knockout. And I rushed him like an idiot. I ate so many shots because I was being stupid. And that's what happened. It was just
Bro, where's the cameraman?
Stupid match.
Oh,
I don't know about it.
And I think that happens to everyone. You have a match where you're
Look at this guy.
or you just play dumb. That's all it was. And I mean, that's not to discredit Rice. He has a win over me. He's trash. I would maul him in a rematch. But actually, we're talking about Rice here. Fuck Rice. He stole parts of my map and put it in P and D and said it was his. He's a garbage human being.
Somebody better tell that goddamn motherfucking groundhog.
I don't know what that was about.
Why?
But yeah, no, you're trash.
We've kind of just been like having normal. We haven't had any questions. We need a question. You've been really good at like starting like actual good.
I've been starting these discussions as the guest.
Yeah, when you left, we talked about top top 5 for a good 20 to 30 minutes. Hi.
I just.
Nothing is going correctly, bro. Everything is geeking. My VR was geeking. I couldn't talk, and now there's like a 40-second delay, and like my controller stopped working. Okay. Anyways, you're a punk, okay, nigga? Okay. Anywho, I'm playing.
I'll be fucking motherfuckers up though.
Not me, nigga. Okay, wait, no, I'm glad. Let me go back on my. A question. We're talking about sword fighting a lot when we're having that discussion. Goldmaster's really good at sword fighting. Do you know any? You have any cool like Actually, no. I want to talk about Deadmax. So, were you around when Deadmax boxed or not?
So I wasn't around when he was like peak boxing, but he had come back during a time he'd made friends with Samurai, and so he did like one event. But after I was gonna fight him during that event, I think he ended up fighting like Zane or someone. He didn't fight me. But I have fought him like outside of events, and I've beaten him before. He's good. Like he's also a good sword fighter. I've sword fought him a good couple times. Not like for like, comps or anything, like something like impressive, but just like casually. No, yeah, I've beaten him though.
Bro, hey, I want to say something. All the people that say yap as we're on a podcast talking, this is why you people are boring. That's what Siphon was in OFC General and said yap fest. Like just because
yeah,
we're
I
not
saw
talking, like what are we I don't get it.
Oh,
So
you mean
annoying.
Siphon? The number 3
Siphon.
pound for pound right now who couldn't beat me in a spar? Yeah. That
That's
guy?
a-
Oh, the guy
I
who
don't know.
got mauled by Elam Adam pieced up today? Oh yeah, that dude, I respect his opinion. Anyway, let's continue. He's trash, by the way. His whole thing is sword fighting, beat him. And like an official like sword fighting, beat him. Garbage.
Since how many people do we have? We have a good amount of people watching. Since Panetta has to go here soon, we're gonna do a little bit of talk, like questions from the chat.
Predictions.
Okay. List any questions you guys got.
And I'll read down the card because I feel sick.
Okay, go for it.
Whoa. Why is my mic saying it's not tweaking? Is this a good
Hi
volume?
everyone.
Yeah, it's good quality. I like it.
Alright, it's saying it's like literally like beginner volume. Okay. The main
Yeah,
event, guys, Japan versus Tron. They have a history. Tron, for some reason,
Hi.
really
I
just
want Tron
has
to win.
Japan's number.
Wait, hold on. Hold on.
It's because he's an old gen. I love Tron. I think he's had so many fights that should have gone his way, but just haven't. I think the Japan fight, the Goldmaster fight, like the two arguably top 2 right now, he's had fights against them that he arguably should have won. And so I think he deserves his get back. I think he should win that.
Poker.
That'd be super cool.
Poker. What's that
Okay. So, Tron, Goldmaster, who do you have? You fought both.
We were just talking.
Type Master. I can literally hear your keyboard, bro.
Well,
about? Master, I get
Okay.
it.
Okay. Calvin
so-
Omega.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, okay, never
Isn't-
mind. Back to the real Sig. Okay,
Dude,
Goldmaster.
I don't know why it was like working and then it stopped. Okay. Freaking, I got Japan. And that's it. I just got Japan.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. Silvio.
hater.
I love Tron a lot, but Japan by any way he wants. I think he's gonna toy around with him. He did with Wado and SSS. He later said in the party he said he was toying around with him, and he was still beating his ass. And basically Wado and Tron basically it's the same skill at this point.
Mr.
And I just
Cash.
think Savage. I think Japan's just gonna kill him. That's all. That's it.
I think I think Japan's gonna
I
win,
think-
man. But I think my boy Deadtron's gonna do good. I love Deadtron. I hope it's a good fight, man.
I think it's gonna be really. They always have good fights. It's gonna be a really good match, especially now. They've had a lot of off and on matches, but they've never had like a big main event matchup that's like getting the hype it deserves and stuff. So now it's finally happening, and I also think it's an even score between them with all the other matches they've had. In OFC though, I believe Japan is like 2-0, 3-0 with him or something like that. Ooh. But Tron lately in their past matches beat him in DM. Was gonna I hate to say, but was going to beat him in green to gold and might have likely would have 99% sure would have won green to gold entirely then.
Mhm.
And I'm rooting on him for the next one, hopefully. But I think Japan has gotten smarter in his since then. I know it wasn't that long ago, but he's gotten smarter. When I fought him in gold, he looked a lot sharper. Like he knew what he was doing. He didn't look as scared anymore. Like he kind of was just like he looked more confident, and I think that was a big issue he had beforehand. Like even people he knew he could beat, he was just always scared against him. And not to say he isn't like nervous now, but he isn't like saying like oh, I might lose. Like he's going in wanting to win and not holding back. But I do think if he lets it get to him, Tron will win this time. Because I think he's not stupid. He knows his good luck lately with him, and he knows how dangerous Tron just is for him. Something about him. They lock in like a puzzle. It's good for both of them. They bring the best out of each other. I think Tron's definitely going to intimidate him, especially since he doesn't. When he was losing, he had an excuse. He had his controller. Now it's better, and I think now that he knows there's nothing that can save him besides himself, I think it's going to be really. And I think Japan will win, but if he doesn't, if he can't just get over being scared to him, Tron's going to win.
Yeah, I think Japan's the better fighter. I want Tron to win.
All right, guys. That was a lot of fucking talk for one fight. Okay. Let's try to keep it short because we have 7 more. Okay. The co-main event, we got our boy right here sitting to my left, Lukey boy, Silvio versus Lukey boy. I'm slow, y'all know this. Silvio versus Lukey boy. IBF title match, not eliminators for the belt. We'll start with the better fighter.
I want Lukey to win. I don't know in terms of skill how close they are, and it's nothing against you, Silvio. It's just I fucking love Lukey Boy right now. For some reason, I'm like really riding the Lukey Boy train, and so I just want him to keep doing better so that I can end it later. So, yeah, I have Lukey Boy.
After seeing like Apollo like destroy Lukey Boy and WSB, I feel like Silvio got that. But I don't know. It could go either way, I believe.
For me, like normally MMA math like kind of doesn't make sense in Rec Room sometimes because of styles. But if you're getting like raped by somebody and that person gets raped by another person, I think it's pretty fair to say that the person who raped them is better than the person who got raped. It's exactly how it went. He demolished Apollo. Apollo, he wasn't just beating Lukey Boy, he was like literally murdering him. So,
I'm
I think it's fair to say fuck you. First of all, fuck you.
Wait, so
second of all,
stop talking.
It was a no contest because someone tested that. I forgot who.
It was Apollo's.
It was Apollo tested that, so it made no contest.
Yeah, but he was Apollo was beating the buns off him.
I got Silvio winning.
And Silvio, what do you think, man? Right? Co-main event OFC? Kind of crazy to think you would get here, bro.
I don't know. I just feel like my record is so weird. Like, especially me, I'm 10-3. I'm 10-3 in OC, which is so weird to say, cause I don't even know. Cause I think myself as a bad fighter, but that kind of record for me in one of the best leagues currently, it's just kind of weird to say. But yeah.
All right, so next one. Just give me a last one.
My bad. Okay, let's start with the WBA title eliminator. Winner will fight Japan. Saifoin versus Carlos.
If it's starting with me like normal, then I like Carlos. I've actually grown to like Carlos more the more I've sparred him. I think he's difficult. He's pretty challenging for me because he's short. I think I'm better than him, but he is challenging because of how small he is. I think Siphon probably beats him in that. I don't want Siphon to win because Siphon's a bum. So I want Carlos to win, surprisingly. But yeah, I think probably Siphon wins that. But I want Carlos to.
Both of them are hot buns, but I guess I got Siphon.
I like Carlos.
Damn.
I don't know why he doesn't. I like Carlos. He just doesn't like me because I beat him in GG, which is kind of sad. But I think it would be such a really really good fight, and I think Siphon's gonna pull it off by like I don't know. I think Siphon's gonna win. That's all.
Yeah.
Hey, I guess this is the one thing we can take from Carlos as to why he's even here. Did you hear about his fight with Owl and how that went?
He beat him, right?
Or
5-0.
When he knocked him out, he wasn't even half.
So I didn't hear the details of it. I heard it was bad. I didn't realize it was 5-0 in rounds. My God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
Was it
Um,
okay? Well, hold on. Was it Al? Like, was Al off that day? Was it
He was-
Al
no,
doing
he was
bad, or
trying
was it
to-
Carlos
I
doing good?
no,
No
in my
excuse.
personal opinion, I'm a little biased because I love Owl. I think he was off. He probably would do better in a rematch. But I mean, you got to go off what happened. What happened is what happened, and he got shut out. So,
Yeah.
I got Siphon winning. I don't know. I equally think they're both low key dickheads. So I don't really care who wins or loses. It should be like a no contest. Siphon demolishes his in the middle of the fight in the first round. Okay,
What was that?
Carlos. I mean, like Cal.
What was that? Your mic is like.
I think Carlos does best when he's like really batted against. I think this is one of them now. But just recently, he beat Fab coming off of that really close match at Goldmaster. Yeah, he got off the couch to fight Wild Owl, and he beat the brakes off him. Wild Owl, better than Siphon, and is beating him. He beat Siphon as worse than Carlos beat him, and I think I don't know. I think Carlos has it this time. Again, I think he has it again. I'm rooting for him because I think. it'd be cool.
I wasn't listening, but did you mention their off-record fight night fight?
No, I didn't. But Carlos.
That
Carlos
happened.
recently.
That happened. Carlos won. You know,
I was
Siphon
there.
always says he wasn't trying, but like, that's nobody's fault but your
If
own.
he fights someone
It's his
with,
ego.
with another annoying
It's a lie.
style or just drag too, like he did with Jay Hitman. He almost lost to Jay Hitman recently too.
Yeah, he went to
You just
split
fight
decision
someone
with Jay
an annoying
Hitman.
style too. You can almost like I don't credit like him beating me that much because I would have got killed by Goldmaster or Japan that day horribly. Just a bad day.
Round
I should
one.
not have done it. I would have gotten floored, and that's why I don't even take it like, that much because I don't really care.
Forgot
I think-
Alpha already.
I think
He got your
Siphon.
teeth kicked in. Let's be fair.
Yeah, high kick to
whatever,
the
sure.
fucking dome.
Yeah. Getting
Okay.
Ass whooped. But anyways,
Okay.
Carlos,
Dude, that's it's one of the
I think
biggest
Carlos has
comebacks I've ever seen. It was like over half a health bar of comeback. It was nuts.
I literally only just tossed my left jab out there, and that's that's really what I could only do, and it was working pretty good. So, I don't. It's whatever.
What's
I hung
the
in there. In the
what's the next fight?
what's the next one?
Where was? I don't know if you're.
So for the winner of Silvio versus Lukey Boy, we have rising prospect, in my opinion, one of my favorite new fighters, Shiesty,
Greatest fighter of all time.
fighting Oljen Hi. I have Shiesty with the upset. I'm gonna just say that because I have nothing else to really say. Just that. I have Shiesty with the surprising win. What about you, Wheat?
I saw Shiesty. I believe I saw him main event. Or not main event. Like do his first match. I've only ever seen him fight one time officially, and he did really, really good. I kind of want to see it. I want to see a new face in the community who gets a really nice win over not a terrible old gen, and I think it sets a nice baseline for him to potentially grow and be better if he wins. And it sets him on a path to put him on people's radar that I think would be pretty cool. So yeah, I want Shiesty.
Here you go.
Nothing, bro. It's just how you said something. I got Shiesty. I love Shiesty. Yeah, I think he has like potential to be like really good. So I believe that. I also think he has potential to be like a main event someday. I don't know if it's still alive. That is so. But I got Shiesty.
I love them
by,
both.
like,
I love
Oh,
Shiesty.
news. Wait, guys, important news. Just got a DM from Lukey Boy. Lukey Boy says, Apollo's only winning against me when I fought very badly with a fucked up left joystick, which affects
nobody
my
cares.
movement.
So your turn. Shiesty.
Okay.
I love
I
Lukey
care.
Boy, but
I care.
wait,
Oh,
you just
I
had.
care,
I mean, if you're
Lukey.
watching, I'm sorry, but you just have excuses every time you win or lose something. It's going on.
Lukey.
Anyways,
Lukey, I'll train you to beat
It's
this.
okay, Lukey. I'm here for you too. Bro.
I
Don't
love
worry.
them both.
These guys.
Hi is actually like a really close friend to me right now. Like I love him so much, but I think Shai's gonna kill him pretty easily, and he's gonna beat me after that. He's gonna be a champion, and he's gonna be undisputed, and he's gonna be the greatest of all time, NBA show, and yeah. Yep.
Wait to add on just one last thing. I do think, it'll be one-sided if Hi wins because I don't know if y'all have seen, but Shiesty when he bear hugs, he like overhands it, and it's like insanely telegraphed. It's really good because it has some good range. But if Hi just on point that day, he's gonna shut him out badly, just because there's so many holes in it. Like it's like the biggest, fattest, slowest overhand double ever. All right, my bad. Go on.
I really like Shai. Shai looks like sharp. He's like a really cool like new face to finally have. Like we've had like random names come in like Booyah and stuff, and we've seen how that goes. But I really like the addition of Shicey. But I do think Hi won. I think he's doing better again finally after like being pretty bad for like a solid year. But he beat Tupac in DM I know, which is maybe just me, but I see some similarity in like drag there. So I think Hi knows how to handle himself. I think it'll be close, but I think Hi can win.
All right, moving on to the WBO bracket. A lot of people believe this is a one-sided fight. We have Wild Owl versus Tupac. Okay, we is there.
Dude, I don't even know who the fuck Tupac is, and so I have to give it to Al. Like, legitimately.
That was Grim Reaper.
Oh, it's Grim Reaper. Oh, fuck out. I want Tupac to win that.
Yeah, we were helping out Tupac too.
Dude,
we were trying to get him to chill down in WSB today. Like we're trying to get him like relax.
He has a couple flaws. Like he has things he should work on, especially